Miriam is never called wife or mother. She has neither husband nor children. And Jewish traditions, however, cannot tolerate her status as single. Now, the historian Josephus deems her deems her H-U-R, the husband of Miriam. Now, before I looked at this particular article, I looked at a video or listened to an audio, and they mentioned this particular individual, her, H-U-R, in connection with Miriam as her husband. And they give Exodus 17:10 through 12 as a point of reference for that. Now, certain other sources give her Caleb for a husband, and her, H-U-R, for a son. Okay, so it seems like just by reading this particular article, there's some discrepancies or some uncertainty if who or if she even had an actual husband. But they already say early on that Miriam is never called wife or mother. Not to say if she's not a mother, she's not a wife. But yeah, when I looked at and listened to something last night, they mentioned someone by the name of her, H-U-R, as being linked to her as a possible spouse or husband. I didn't hear anything about anyone named Caleb, though. In closing for this particular article, it says, in the New Testament, Miriam's afterlife continues through her name and her deeds. The Greek name Mary is the equivalent of the Hebrew Miriam. I didn't know that. In singing a song of deliverance, okay, found at Luke 1:46-55, and embodying a diseased condition, but they also put demonic on here, which I don't agree with. Luke 8:2, and in challenging male authorities. Okay, I don't know if that was really the case here. I think it was just my opinion. I don't know. I'm an imperfect human being. I think it's just your usual sibling rivalry. Okay. They maybe went a little far. Okay. We're all imperfect. She felt passed over by Moses, a little bit jealous, a little bit of envy and sibling rivalry. From what I listened to last night, Aaron felt this way as well, but I think that Miriam took it a step further, and then she was basically, God addressed that and made her see that, to get a handle on that. I don't know if I want to use the word necessarily of punishment, but he did reprimand her. And what I listened to last night, she received that, okay? And she realized that just like a loving father disciplines his children, this is what God was doing to her, okay? It was not something that was done out of hatred or vengeance or anger. It was done out of love. When you don't care about something, you don't bother to even, to do anything about it. You leave it. But when you love something, you want it to be better. And that's what parents do, okay? So that was my interpretation of what I heard last night. This particular article gives a different type of tone to it that I'm not necessarily agreeing with. The other information here I'm vibing with, but the other thing, I don't know. It's making it seem like God did it out of a pace of vengeance or anger or something else, like being like a tyrant. No, he's a loving father, and when you are wrong, he lets you know that you're wrong, okay? And so that you can learn and so that you can be better, okay? Anyway, they cite Matthew 28:10, Luke 24:10, as well as John chapter 20, verses 11 through 18. It says also the various Marys of the gospel reflect their namesake. So yeah. The following is from the book of Exodus, chapter 15. It is basically entitled The Song of Moses and Miriam, courtesy of BibleGateway.com.
Exodus 15. Then Moses and the Israelites sang this song to the Lord. I will sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. Both horse and driver he has hurled into the sea. The Lord is my strength and my defense. He has become my salvation. He is my God, and I will praise him, my father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a warrior. The Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his army he has hurled into the sea. The best of Pharaoh's officers are drowned in the Red Sea. The deep waters have covered them. They sank to the depths like a stone. Your right hand, Lord, was majestic in power. Your right hand, Lord, shattered the enemy. In the greatness of your majesty, you threw down those who opposed you. You unleashed your burning anger. It consumed them like stubble. By the blast of your nostrils, the waters piled up. The surging waters stood up like a wall. The deep waters congealed in the heart of the sea. The enemy boasted, I will pursue. I will overtake them. I will divide the spoils. I will gorge myself on them. I will draw my sword, and my hand will destroy them. But you blew with your breath, and the sea covered them. They sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who among the gods is like you, Lord? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in glory, working wonders? You stretch out your right hand, and the earth swallows your enemies. In your unfailing love, you will lead the people you have redeemed. In your strength, you will guide them to your holy dwelling. The nations will hear and tremble. Anguish will grip the people of Philistia. The chiefs of Edom will be terrified. The leaders of Moab will be seized with trembling. The people of Canaan will melt away. Terror and dread will fall on them. By the power of your arm, they will be as still as a stone, until your people pass by, Lord, until the people you bought pass by. You will bring them in and plant them on the mountain of your inheritance, the place, Lord, you made for your dwelling, the sanctuary, Lord, your hands established. The Lord reigns forever and ever. When Pharaoh's horses, chariots, and horsemen went into the sea, the Lord brought the waters of the sea back over them, but the Israelites walked through the sea on dry ground. Then Miriam, the prophet, Aaron's sister, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her with timbrels and dancing. Miriam sang to them, Sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. Both horse and driver he has hurled into the sea. Then Moses led Israel from the Red Sea, and they went into the desert of Shur. For 3 days they traveled in the desert without finding water. When they came to Marah, they could not drink its water because it was bitter. That is why the place is called Marah. So the people grumbled against Moses, saying, What are we to drink? Then Moses cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a piece of wood. He threw it into the water, and the water became fit to drink. There the Lord issued a ruling and instruction for them, and put them to the test. He said, If you listen carefully to the Lord your God, and do what is right in his eyes, if you pay attention to his commands, and keep all his decrees, I will not bring on you any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you. Then they came to Elim, where there were 12 springs and 70 palm trees, and they camped there near the water.
You were just listening to Teachable Moments with April podcast. I truly hope you enjoyed this episode. We invite you to stay connected with us on our other social media platforms: TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, and now Rumble. You can also leave us feedback in 3 ways: in the Interact feature section on the Spotify app, voice messages to the podcast through our